What's up guys, Smash Connoisseur here, and in today's video I'm going to be counting down the top 10 Smash Ultimate players of all time, in my opinion, but low-key it's facts because I used a lot of statistics to determine this. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get right into it with number 10, which is going to be Dabuz. Dabuz has always been a consistent threat throughout the history of Smash Ultimate, from the very beginning to now in modern day Smash, still being a very top level player. And Dabuz has always kind of been known as that kind of player that will take you out if you're not quite at that top 10 level. He's been that gatekeeper of the top 10, and that never really changed for Dabuz. And Dabuz is actually extremely skilled, and that's why he's going to be making number 10 on this list. His average ranking, if you go on all the ranking seasons and combine his rank, the most common rank he gets is 15.8, which is his average ranking, which is extremely high. That means he's pretty much always in that top 10 to top 20 area, which is just very impressive for a player who's played since day one of Ultimate and is still playing now for his average rank to be so high. So that's why Dabuz is going to be number 10 on the list. At number 9, we are going to have a Japanese legend in T. T is one of the greatest players in the history of Japan and in the history of Smash, of course, where T has actually received more success in the West than he has even in his home region of Japan, where he always consistently does very, very well here in the US and especially in Europe, where there was actually a very long period where T was just undefeated in European tournaments. And it's just crazy to believe that because he's not even European, but he would just destroy all their best players every single time he would go there. He would just kind of farm them for money. And T is just extremely, extremely skilled at the game, being able to wield both Pac-Man and then later on Kazuya. I averaged out his rank upon all seasons, and his average rank is going to be 11.7, which is very high. That means he's just outside of the top 10 every single season this game has been out. Like, that's insane, and he's only number 9, so just wait till you see the people we have coming up. Now, I know I was just bragging about T's insane average rank, but this player actually has a far lower average rank than T, but is still going to be above T because of kind of specific circumstances. This player going to be number 8, Proto. Now, Proto has been ranked top 10 before, but he's kind of an inconsistent player as he doesn't seem to attend as many tournaments these days. I think he's actually on a hiatus from the game. And even when he did attend tournaments, he would do way better when he came over here than in his home region of Japan. And I don't know whether this is just due to the fact that he would only try here because there's money on the line or what it may be, but in the United States and tournaments near here, he would just destroy. I think of tournaments like Double Down, where he took it over the likes of MKLeo, T, as mentioned before, and many, many other top level players. And you even go to tournaments like Summit 4. Before that, MKLeo had only ever gotten first and second at every tournament he had gone to for over 2 years straight. The person who broke that, it was Proto. So he really is such a menace, and he destroys pretty much every tournament he comes to out here. You think of the Summit series even. Summit 4, he defeated both Leo and Tweak at like their primes post-quarantine. Then Summit 5, he just won the whole thing, arguably the hardest summit to win. And then Summit 6, he did extremely well as well, defeating like Prime Tweak, and like he's just so good at this game. So he's gonna be making top 10 on this list. At number 7, we have our first and only European player, the Frenchman himself, Gluttony. And he actually just barely squeaks above T in terms of his average ranking, which is going to be 11.1 rather than T's 11.7. So they're actually very close in terms of what they average rank on the ranking system. These do tend to be pretty close between the two of them, but Glutto is just going to edge it out a little bit over T in this scenario. And Glutto, I think what really contributed to that was he did have a period where he was considered top 3 in the world for a time, and he had a very, very dominant period, and he's one of the few players to just have a destroying record on MKLeo, who is very high on this list, I'll say that. And Galuto really is far and away the greatest player in Europe of all time, and it's not even close. So it does really make sense that he's going to be on this list. Okay, now comes the part in the list when we start getting guys that are just so good, it's like hard to comprehend. First up is going to be Chon. Now, Chon has been in the top 10 ranking every single season except for one in this game, which is just insane to comprehend. His worst rank he's ever gotten in the history of this game is 13th in the world, and his average rank is 8.3, so he does not do poorly. He's always doing extremely well in this game, whether it be in Japan or the United States, and that's really hard to do because a lot of players are either good in one place or the other. It's hard to be good in both because I think they have such different playstyles, but Chon always strikes his dominance in either of the two countries that Smash has played at the highest level for. So I think that's extremely impressive, and in fact, I think one of the most impressive things about Chon is it's almost like he's been rising on the up and up as of recently, which is even crazier to think about that he was like top 7 back in the first season of Ultimate, and he's top 7 right now. Like, this is just an insane level player, and so that's why Chon is going to be number 6 on the list. At number 5, at the halfway point on our list, we're going to have our first American player to crack the top 10, and it's going to be everybody's favorite Fox main, Light. Light has actually been top 10 every single season of this game, and his average rank is 7, which is just nuts. Like, literally, he ranks on average 7th in the world every single ranking season. This guy is not a guy to be messed with. He's so consistent. He can really beat anybody, like anybody, even his worst matchups, players like Mia and Meister, he can beat them. And he just overcomes anything. You think of tournaments like SmashCon Fall Fest, and he can really overpower any challenge in his way. He's defeated all of his rivals before, and it's a no-brainer why Light is going to be on this list. He was cracked at the beginning of Ultimate, and he's only gotten better with time. At number 4, we have FaZe's very own Spargo. Spargo is going to be number 4 on this list, which may surprise a lot of people because he's so good, but he, as of recent, has been getting ranked a bit worse, which is going to drag him down a little bit. But first, let me explain why he's so high. And that is mainly due to the fact that pre-quarantine, although Spargo wasn't, the monster that he is now, he was actually still very skilled. He also defeated Void pre-quarantine. So he was really leveling up as things went on, and then quarantine kind of delayed that for him, but it was actually really good for him because he had all that time to practice online, and then right when it came out and everybody was able to play offline again, he was just this beast of a player. He's been nearly number 1 multiple seasons, and he's so good at the game. When I tell you these stats, you're not going to believe them. His worst rank in any season is 9, and his average rank is 3.6. On average, he's 3.6th best in the world in all the post-quarantine seasons, which is just insane. So that's why Spargo is going to be where he is. But again, he's not going to be higher because his average rank is 3.6 post-quarantine. But pre-quarantine, he wasn't really on the map like that, so he doesn't have the same longevity as maybe some of the people who are coming after him. Okay, at number 3, we have Aquila. Now, some people are going to be like, what? Really? But when you hear these stats, it's kind of going to make sense to you. So, Aquila has actually, post-quarantine, ever since he started playing his first tournament, the worst, well, one, he's been rank 1 every single season since then, except for 1. His worst ever rank is 2nd in the world. And his average rank is 1.2 in the world. So on average, he's 1.2 best player in the world. So essentially, if you round it, he's averaging rank 1. But why is he not number 1 of all time? Well, because he didn't play pre-quarantine. So it's not really fair to say that he's better than the people who I'm putting above him on this list, because we don't know how he'll be, in the long term. the players that are above him have had so much time to get beaten, and yet they still remain at the very top. And so that's why Akala is only going to be number 3 on this list. But I do think we have to really appreciate what he has done in terms of just having such insane stats. At number 2, we have Tweak. Tweak is on this list because he is, one, the greatest player in the history of the United States of America, which is a huge feat in and of itself. But another thing is he's been top 10 every single season, and his average rank is rank 5, which is across all seasons. Akala's was rank 1.2, but he only played post-quarantine. Tweak played since day 1 and still has an average rank of 5. Like, that's absolutely insane. He's rivals with the GOAT, and he's kind of even surpassed that, who used to be his bracket demon, and now it's the other way around. So Tweak is just a player who can adapt to anything, and he just wants to be the best more than anybody. However, this is not going to put him as number 1 of all time, and I think you guys all know who it is, but it is going to be Luminosity MKLeo. Okay, why is MKLeo number 1, and what could maybe drag him back a little bit? 1, he has not been doing as well as of recent, and I think everybody knows this. I mean, on the most recent ranking, he was like rank 20, I believe, which is not great. But his placings were so good early on in the game, his average rank is still 6.7 across all seasons. Now, you may be like, but Smash Connoisseur, Tweak, who you just said. But here's the thing, MKLeo got first in the world as his rank 4 seasons in a row. Nobody else has ever done that before. He's the only player to have 4 seasons in a row rank 1. He's the only player to win 6 Genesises in a row. He's the only player to be number 1 pre-quarantine and post-quarantine. And he has the most dominant tournament record of all time, where he went over 2 years without getting even 3rd place. He only got 1st and 2nd for over 2 years straight, okay? So really, that's why MKLeo is going to be number 1. Even if maybe he's not as good today as you would hope, he's still extremely good, and he's extremely impressive. He impresses me every single time I watch his gameplay, and it's just a no-brainer that he's got to kind of be number 1. There's no other guy who could be number 1 than MKLeo. So that's why MKLeo is going to be number 1 greatest Smash Ultimate player of all time. Be sure to leave your comments down below on whether you think I'm right about this or wrong, but I did kind of get the data to back it up. But let's just see what you guys have to say. And please like and subscribe. See ya.